What's on with it, guys? Today we are going to be reacting to school mornings are pure mental torture. And I'm not gonna lie, I am inclined to agree. They were always torture for me because for some reason, and I don't know why, I always thought it was kind of a flex to, stay up late the day before school. Like that was giving me some type of mental edge or popularity or cool points or something. Why I thought this, I don't know. It was dumb in 14, 15, 16. Days you are in high school. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, this video is brought to you by Scepter. 4K, we're going to leave him a like. And yeah, let's get into it.
Waking up for school in the morning is by far one of the worst possible experiences to ever happen to the average humanoid. Nothing is worse than getting out of your bed during ungodly hours with Kevin Durant levels of crusty eyes, a numb hand, and a pulsing migraine from the thought of having to get ready to head to algebra.
I ain't gonna lie though, on second thought, you think waking up for high school is bad? Wait till you have to wake up for work. Cause I ain't gonna lie, sometimes work be having you wake up at more diabolical than this. Now I can't say anything for my average 9 to 5 worker, but me and my job, bro, I gotta be up 5:30, which was much earlier than I had to be up for high school. At high school, I thought waking up at like 6:30 was early, but 5:30, whole different ball game.
Number 2 with Mr. Garrison. Hearing those multiple iPhone alarms send pulsating sound.
Hey, and speaking of alarms, are y'all the type of people who sets like 10 alarms? Cause that's me. I saw a quote, I make sure I set 2 alarms every day. I set one for the person who I want to be and the person I am. Cause I ain't gonna lie, 9 times out of 10, that first alarm ain't getting me, bro. I don't know what it is, but every day I snooze every day. And it's just like a part of my routine. It's like a habit that I cannot break.
Sound waves down my entire body gives me more PTSD than the Avengers witnessing Thanos blow up to Wakanda for the first time. But to really get an idea on just how terrible waking up for school mornings are, we first need to go through the multiple different stages of challenges you'll be facing from the moment you get out of bed all the way till the time your first class starts. Now, in my non-humble opinion, while waking up and getting out of bed is hard enough by itself, the actual gauntlet of suffering that comes as soon as you get out of your bed to start the day is so much worse. Waking up a couple minutes before your alarm is one of the worst moments of this entire experience, because for one, after it happens, I feel like
I disagree. I feel like waking up after your alarm is low-key a goated experience. Because every time I wake up before my alarm, I feel like I hit the snooze button prematurely. Or usually when I wake up before my alarm, that means I went to sleep at a decent time, so I'm full of energy. I ain't gonna lie though. I just feel like, I don't know. I don't agree with that one personally.
nuking anything in a 10-meter radius. But for 2, after you notice you're awake earlier than you expected, you instinctively press the snooze button and start to doze off again and do the mental math on how you can.
I don't drop one in the morning. Do y'all drop one in the morning? Nah, I ain't gonna lie. You feel me? After fresh wake up, definitely going number 1 every time. But I ain't dropping deuces at 6 in the morning. 6 in the morning is crazy.
Can afford just 5 more minutes. The next time you open your eyes, it's 30 minutes before school starts, and now I have to speed run my entire routine, and my brain immediately starts calculating how many minutes to spend on every single task. Anyone who also ends up in this situation already knows that the idea of a shower.
See, but that's why you do it before. And I ain't gonna lie. Look, I was down bad. A lot of times when I was waking up for high school, bro, I'm brushing my teeth in like 20 seconds, bro. I ain't gonna stand. I ain't gonna stand, bro. I ain't getting my full 2 minutes. I'm brushing my teeth in 20 seconds while I'm putting my pants on and my shirt right there. So as soon as if you even spit it out, I'm gonna run to the bed, whatever. I'm gonna put my shirt on. You feel me? I had a routine, but it was a routine that was well thought out before the morning.
Hour is completely unviable. You better start praying to God that you can wear your deodorant and cologne for the rest of the day without someone catching a whiff of your presence and disintegrating to atoms. But listen.
Hey, real ones know, bro. You gonna pack that cologne and you gonna wear a thick jacket if you feel like you ain't smelling too good for it. See, look at you messing up my video. Anyway, you gonna put on a thick jacket and you gonna put on buku cologne, you feel what I'm saying? So you can make sure you ready for school that day. If you feel like you ain't feeling too fresh, you feel me? You feel like a old expired can of onions. Yeah, you feel me? The jacket method undefeated. Cause I ain't gonna lie, you got on just a regular t-shirt. As soon as you let them arms fly, if you all the shotties gonna be flying away from you too.
Assume you manage to get out of bed half awake and step out of your room. The next boss level you will have to deal with is the bathroom. As someone who has younger siblings, the amount of times I've gone to wash my face half awake and barely able to stand, and then come to find out that the bathroom light is both on and the door is locked is utterly criminal. After a certain point, I train my body to instinctively head to the downstairs bathroom and even move my toothbrush because...
See, this is a problem I didn't have to deal with though. See, it's great being the only child, and you feel me? Bathroom connected to my room, I'm right there. You feel what I'm saying, bro? It's a great life being the only child. The only bad part about being the only child, you feel me, is that like you don't have like a lot of people to play with. Oh, and to clarify, cause I have siblings, but they're just like stupid older than me, so I'm technically the only child. But the only bad part about that is you don't like have friends to play with around the house. But from what I see from most people like hate their siblings anyway when they're younger. So I think I got the best of both worlds, to be honest.
There is absolutely no way that I was waiting 30 minutes to use the sink because someone decided to play with bath bubbles for too long. Even if I managed to get lucky and whoever was in there left early, as soon as I stepped inside, I'd find all the hot water gone, a lake on the ground, and the most insane combination of a post-toilet stench that I'd ever smelled. Once you're able to get into the rhythm of things and get your fit on, it was then time to actually head to prison. I mean school. Most people, including myself, usually went by bus or car, and then you had the minority that either walked or biked there instead. Something I want to briefly mention is the fact that once you're able to get your...
I ain't gonna lie though, them bus rides used to get me ready for school too, cause you feel me? I get on the bus, throw my little AirPods in, vibe out for the rest of the bus ride, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bus was low-key a vibe, and then you feel me, if you got like a lit bus, everybody living around your neighborhood, it's gonna be, you know, all your partners on the bus. Like, bro, no cap, one of my best friends to this day, we literally met on the bus. No cap, and we still hang out. It's been 10 years since then.
license/car at some point during your high school tenure, the amount of stress that you're able to put off of yourself is actually like life-saving. Not depending on anyone else to take you anywhere, especially school, is such a lifesaver, especially in these kinds of situations. I really want to put a major focus on the school bus because while I personally stopped going on it after middle school, I did not forget the absolute misery that I endured on that vehicle of chaos and destruction. Whenever the bus came to my neighborhood to pick me up, as soon as I got on it, my number one objective would always be to find an empty seat and start catching up on all the sleep.
Now look. See, I could throw y'all a quick story time though. While the bus was nice, I also did get into my first fight on the bus, and I'm gonna tell y'all what happened. So, you feel me? I'm getting on the bus. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to sit in my regular seat in the back. You know what I mean? I'm in 7th grade at the time. You feel me? It's an 8th grader. He a little bigger than me, you know what I'm saying? A little stronger, a little more mature, all the things. But anyway, so I go to my regular seat. Man, he tell me get out the seat. Obviously, I ain't going for it. So anyway, he just yelling in my face. I smack cuz. But keep in mind, again, I'm 7th grade and 8th grade guy is way bigger than me. So he immediately just start throwing the mud. And I ain't got no time to shake back, so I'm just sitting there taking it. I ain't gonna lie, pause. But yeah, that's the story how I lost my first fight. So yeah, I had great memories on the bus, but I had a few bad ones too.
I missed. Unfortunately, I couldn't get any more sleep because anytime I laid my head anywhere, I started taking tick damage and was just in pain until I got to school. Another reason sleep was impossible was because niggas in the back of the bus kept screaming at the top of their lungs at the worst jokes ever conceived. Yo, bro, guess what? What? Chicken dookie butt. And it...
I ain't gonna lie, this was me. I was dudes in the back. But that was low-key fun. Peak experience. I ain't gonna lie.
Integral part of the school morning experience is the antics of the school bus driver. The amount of goofy and insane stories that occurred while I was still a bus kid bring back some not so pleasant memories. You have two types of bus drivers. The first one...
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I got another bus story too, bro. One time we was parked at the school. Like, you know how like the buses come get you, and then like before they let y'all dismiss from the bus, they just like park for a second. So anyway, yeah, we parked at the school, and while we're parked, another bus literally comes speeding, rammed into us, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like, and then the funny part about that too, though, is that it was a kid in the back, and he just was like, "Ah, my back," and obviously he was joking, but like, we probably really could have got some bread. I wish we would have known what we was doing. We could have actually, if we would have actually got hurt from that, bro, we was getting paid. But nobody was thinking on that level, bro. But I ain't gonna lie, bro. Some of these schools need to check some of their bus drivers because there is some very how do I call it, questionable driving.
One is chill as hell and even has conversations with the kids up front from time to time. You walk on the bus and he nods or smiles at you and just heads to school with minimal distractions. Someone could be having a Just Dance competition in the back of the bus, and as long as they don't personally bother the bus driver, they would get us to school safe and sound without them turning their head back even once. Now on the other side of that coin, we have the bus drivers that have more crash outs than Benson on a Wednesday afternoon.
Now, I had one of these too, Twin. I had one of my bus drivers try to call my pops, say I was making a funny face at him, and I ain't gonna lie. Did I do it? Yeah, I did that. But at the same time, bro, you had to crash out, bro. Just let us be, man. But I ain't gonna lie. I saw him later in life, and he's actually a really cool dude, bro. He just wanted us to be quiet on the bus. And as a grown man, I understand. And even like on regular show, it's crazy because when I was younger, I always sided with Mordecai and Rigby, and like, man, Benson doesn't want to let them have fun. But bro, as a grown man, I completely understand where Benson coming from because if Mordecai and Rigby was on my job, bro, they're fired. Like first, second day.
Rigby, what's the matter with you? Ah, Rigby! Ah!
I maybe don't identify with this side of Benson though. I don't never crash out this bad.
Now, I get that some people can get very tired and fed up with being at work, especially when you have to deal with kids on a daily basis, but these bus drivers would always be doing the most, especially during morning pickups. While I've had multiple crash out bus drivers over the years, there was this one driver who was like anyone I'd ever seen. He was this middle-aged black guy with a receding hairline and was 5'1", so he was shorter than most of the kids in my grade. Now, for the sake of the video, let's call him Mr. Roberts. There was one time when we were all headed to school, and per usual, some kids in the back were doing some dumb shit and caused Mr. Roberts to constantly look back and tell them to stop or they would get written up. Now, the kids in the back instantly called cap on this because they've heard that phrase way too many times and have still gotten away with stuff they did in the past, so they thought it was going to be no exception this time and they just tried to call his bluff. I don't know if something happened earlier that morning to Mr. Roberts, stubbed his toe on the way out of the bathroom or something, but that man was not playing around because he fully stopped the bus on the side of the road, got up from his chair, and proceeded to cuss out the kids in the back for 5 minutes straight. I could have sworn he was...
Nah, see, look, that's a canon event on the bus. I thought this happened to everybody. Yeah, I had a bus driver get fired because of doing this. I thought this was a regular experience. My fault.
Was about to pop a blood vessel at any second. You want to know what the worst part was? We were quite literally 1 minute away from the drop-off zone, and our bus was within walking distance of the front door. Keep in mind, we were already running late to begin with, and these Neanderthals in the back just decided to give us a tardy all for no reason. All y'all had to do was stay quiet for 4...
Wait, but I thought at my school, at least at my high school, when a bus was late, we didn't get tardies. They would just be like, this bus is running late, and whenever they got there, they just got there. I feel like it's unfair to give a kid a tardy if they're literally on the bus. That's the transportation that you provided. So why should I be at fault if your bus driver can't do his job correctly?
Effing seconds, and we would have had no issues at all, but they were like, nah, let's just keep acting like hyenas that just discovered food for the first time in 5 days. Finally, after all the tomfoolery that just occurred, we finally make it to school. So that means everything is peaceful and good now, right?
No! There's no way out of this.
The morning tomfoolery experience reaches its climax the second you enter the school building. Something I haven't mentioned that makes the school morning experience even more torturous is when you have a test in your first class of the day. The amount of last-minute study sessions I had to cram before I went to take my test are incalculable. A fear...
Again, that's another canon event, bro. If you got a test, first period in the morning, bro, you just studying the whole way on the bus. Or you feel me, hitting up your partners like, hey, anybody got the answers to that test yet? You know what I'm saying? But low key, if the test is in first period, you're cooked because you're going to be the first people to take it, obviously. But yeah, man, you got to get them last minute study sessions. I feel like every test in high school, middle school, it wasn't hard. It would literally just be the study guide. You just got to memorize like 10 answers, to be honest. So I don't know. I never really stressed for tests in high school and middle school, but I don't know. Everybody's different.
I will never forget is when I was studying to take a test the next morning and accidentally overslept before my alarm could wake me up.
Y'all studied for tests in high school too? I don't think I studied for like one test in high school except physics. I took physics my senior year, and I ain't gonna lie, that was a beast. But besides that, bro, I ain't gonna lie, most of them tests and classes would be so easy, bro. It was just no need for me to study. And I passed and graduated with honors. And trust me, I put in like 30% effort and still did that. So
Swear I thought my life was over and I was about to get crucified by my parents the next day once they found out what my score was. Going back to the moment I pulled up to school, you would presume that walking directly to class would be super easy and nothing crazy or strange would happen on the way. But the school hallway has its own set of problems compared to everything else I've talked about so far. We were all aware of the people who make it their mission to make walking to class impossible by moving at 0.1 speed. It's even worse when it's multiple people doing this because there's literally a wall of niggas that you have to try to dodge through just to get to your next class on time. Once I was able to get to class and actually,
and I ain't gonna lie, again, this was me. I ain't gonna stand out. I was tired in the morning, 5. But you want me to run? I'm not running.
sit down and breathe for the first time in 2 hours, I'd just sit around waiting for us to start or talk to my friends to pass the time. Now, a majority of the time, like I said, I was just waiting at my desk because I had no energy to do anything else. And when that happened, there would always be a loud ass group of girls in the back of the class just talking about God knows what at 7:30 in the morning.
Usually
everyone
nothing.
around me is either hungry or sleep deprived, and these people are over here trying their hardest to one-up each other in a yelling competition. Finally, after all the BS is over, the teacher is finally ready to start actually doing something, and the school day finally starts. Overall, school mornings are just a Hunger Games brawl of brutal challenges and obstacles you have to endure on a daily basis that never actually seem to get better. And while you can do things to improve this experience, like sleeping earlier and having things ready the night before, that still never directly leads to a perfect or even smooth experience either. You just have to train yourself to push through all the pain and anguish and make sure you actually survive to tell the tale.
Very good video by Spectre. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment your crazy school morning stories, and yeah, thank you for tuning in. Thanks.